Hello, folks. This story has to do with freedom and money. That's all. Freedom and money. As you know, I get letters from the devil. But as you know, God shows me what's coming anyway. But when Satan and God say the same thing, we're in trouble. This nation had better turn to God. As you know, I get letters from the devil, Lucifer Trust.
Isn't that two this month?
Yeah, that's 3. So the Lucifer Trust, is right across the street from the United Nations. You walk in and there's gold lining all over the place. I've seen pictures of it. Been to New York, but only when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. Don't have any intention of going back to that smelly city. Anyway, there's a power shift. We've talked about it. The Jesuits have talked about it, and now Lucifer's open about the power shift. So, part of the power shift is the LBMA has no ability to deliver gold and silver. There is a failure to deliver on gold and silver from the LBMA in London, but they're suppressing gold at 4,000 and silver at 50. Why? I don't know. But the European central banks are breaking off of the American central banks, and the Asian central banks are breaking off of the American central bank, which means there's a power shift. So as this power shift occurs and power is taken away from the West and away from America, you know what gold and silver is going to do. So I call 877-646-5347 because when I want gold, I want real gold. And there's a lot of fake gold out there. So I go to Noble Gold Investments. It is the only place I go to buy gold, except a local gold dealer which runs her stuff. Jane likes the jewelry, will buy the jewelry. But you know, you gotta have moderation here. If the ring looks good and if it's the same weight in gold as it is, you buy the ring. Anyway, so on to the finances. There are, according to Social Security, 100 million people collecting Social Security. Only 15 million retired Americans who are getting an average of $1,200 a month. And as the Medicare goes up and the medical costs go up, the amount of Social Security they get goes down. There's no rate increase for Social Security. There hasn't been one since I've watched for a long time. The refugees, there are millions upon millions of them are going to get $8,500 a month beginning January. As the American Social Security recipients, the amount they get goes down. But the tens of millions, perhaps as many as 100 million refugees are going to get $8,500 a month plus free medical plus free dental. In other words, about $12,000 a month is going to be spent on the refugees. Trump will not stop spending that money on non-Americans. He will screw the older people and kill them. It's been shown. He's been in office January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 11 months, and the refugees are still getting paid, and the Social Security recipients who are Americans who put into the system are still getting screwed. He ain't going to change it. He didn't change it in his first 4 years. He ain't going to change it now. Americans are going to die while refugees come into the country. A family of Muslims of 4 living in America, if you add up the 8,500 plus the 8,500, all the woman has to do is say the man's not living with me, and all the man has to do is say I'm not living with my woman. So they each get 8,500 plus the free dental, plus free tuition, plus this. They average about $50,000 a month, Jane. Just go to Salishan. Just go anywhere in your neighborhood. So those Somali families that are moving into Michigan because the governor works for Lucifer directly, he's a witch, a warlock, they're getting $50,000 a month per family, while Americans are getting $1,200 a month. And Trump won't change that. And if you're on welfare and you have kids, you get about $40,000 a month with 2 kids. I know we had a neighbor over here. She was getting $7,000 a month. She had 3 kids or 4 kids. She was getting $7,000 a month. That was 20 years ago. We had long talks. She was very pleasant to talk to. Had the morals of a slug. So there's 100 million people. This is for the coming power switch. It's Trump's way to destroy America and bring in the coming power shift. You have 100 million people collecting 8, 10, 15,000 a month in Social Security. You see them at the BMW dealerships, the Mercedes dealerships. You see them at the Acura dealerships. All these foreigners who barely speak English, who lived in a grass hut with a mud floor, are given a driver's license. In fact, over 50,000 of them have been given CDL driver's licenses and are now driving instead of Americans driving, because you have to hire an illegal alien to get a government contract. So the illegal aliens have taken all the American jobs. Of course, there are no arrests by Trump. It's part of the destruction of America. And the economy, Home Depot, yeah, they borrowed 13 billion. Their total bond debt is 13 billion. No, total bond is 62 billion. They borrowed 13 billion so they can declare a net profit of 3 billion. Yeah, think about it. They borrowed 10 so they can declare a net profit of 3. Now, Lowe's is not much better, but Lowe's has hidden all of their debt. Lowe's has U.S. investments, they have foreign investments, they have U.S. bonds, they have foreign bonds for Europe, foreign bonds for China, They're not much better. They declared a $7 billion profit. They claim they're $35 billion in debt, but it could be closer to $70 billion. And they had to borrow $11 billion to declare a $7 billion profit. Here, give me $11, I'll give $7 back to the public, I take $1. And then we had a $3 billion loss. They bought, and who is funding? We talked about this. I don't even need to look at it, but I'll tell you who bought Lowe's bonds and Home Depot bonds. Remember, we said the Federal Reserve System has ordered the Federal Reserve Bank to give out trillions to the banks so that they can buy the bonds. Well, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Barclays, Citigroup, JP Morgan, and US Bank, all owned by the CIA, Larry Fink, BlackRock, whose controlling interest of BlackRock is Kamala Harris, one of the richest people in the world who refused to pay her Democratic workers. So, the AI bond market, Jane, they borrowed over $100 trillion. The AI market is falling apart. Unbelievable. And if you're an illegal alien on Medicare, they'll carry you from your home to the hospital. But if you're on Medicaid, if you're on Medicare, you have to pay for it if you have a broken leg or a missing leg. The illegals are getting everything. In fact, the illegals are getting so much the bridges are falling apart in America. Jane, we have a bridge just out of Wilkeson that they just condemned because they have deferred maintenance, because half to 2/3 of the money in Washington state goes to illegal aliens. There is no money for road maintenance. There is no money for street maintenance. There's rebar coming up out of I-90. They took the federal highway money, stole it, and gave it to the illegal aliens. And of course, no arrest Trump. There's nobody in the Department of Transportation, and no governors are being arrested, because no arrest Trump wants the destruction of America. I didn't realize this till I started investigating this. There's a bridge in Purdy, just north of us, that's been condemned, that they're not going to fix because Washington state is stealing the federal and the state highway money and giving it to illegals and padding their pockets and building their underground bases. There are no arrests. The Department of Transportation has not seized the funds. They've let the state steal the funds. Trump will not arrest anybody, so the destruction of America continues. And more destruction of America. The Dominion voting machines were examined in Michigan, and they found phone chips in the Dominion voting machines. They're controlled by people in China through the telephone. So if 100 million people vote for Trump and 2 vote for Biden, Biden gets the 100 million votes. They found the chips in the voting machines. We've known this all along. They've been talking about it for 10 years now. The FBI made no arrests. The terrorists and the FBI made no arrests. Trump ordered no arrests. It's the destruction of America for the power ship. You say, what power ship? Well, the judge is dropping the Comey case. Apparently, if your daddy ran the Gestapo and killed 6 million people in WW2, you get a free pass to lie, cheat, steal, and murder. So, unbelievable. And Way back when I was in the Army, my armored personnel carrier blew a right light bulb. So I opened it up and I realized it was a 2027 bulb. And I took the 2027 bulb to the maintenance man. He says, "You can't do that. You're not allowed to open up that. We have to throw that away and buy a new one." At the time it was a couple $100. Now it's $1,000 to buy a light on an armored personnel carrier. I said, okay. So I went down to Walmart. I bought a light bulb. I came back. I put the 2027 light bulb in my armored personnel carrier and it worked just fine. Cost me 99 cents to repair a $1,000 light fixture. Did I tell anybody? No. So then I went to get the cans of spray paint. $10 a piece. So I went down to Walmart and I got a 99-cent can of spray paint. Looked fine. Everything looked just wonderful. Now obviously if we have a cracked tank barrel on an M60, we can't replace that. So we had an M60 with a cracked tank barrel. We sent the other one that didn't have a cracked tank barrel to fire a 40-pound charge into the Branch Davidian nursery and kill 50 children when the FBI started shooting them up for tracking Buffalo Airlines bringing cocaine from the CIA into the country. So recently it was exposed that there's a knob on a Black Hawk helicopter the guy bought for $15 and replaced it instead of $15,000. That's happening all over the place. That's how Home Depot can afford to put a commercial, or Big Pharma can afford to put a commercial on some TV program like As Your Stomach Turns in the middle of the day, some soap opera. They can afford to put those commercials on because when I buy an inhaler from a private industry, it's $50. When I buy an inhaler from Costco, it's $50 plus they charge the government another $130. That $130 that they get paid is then diverted to put a commercial on As My Stomach Turns at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on one of the mainstream media programs. You see, there's a lot of corruption in this country. Trump needs to end that with the drugs. He needs to, oh, by the way, these are 3 for $7 in Mexico. Here they're $50. He needs to end that monopoly now. And he needs to end that military purchasing monopoly now by hiring honest people. But wait, he's after the destruction of America. That's why Letitia James, Eric Stallwell, Adam Schiff, Lisa Cook, and Ilmar Omar can all commit fraud, mortgage fraud. You know, illegal aliens can't borrow money. But they all can commit mortgage fraud and not go to jail. And right now, we don't have the H-1 visas and the H-1A and the H-1B visas. We now have the L-1A and the L-1B visas that are bringing in several 100,000 Indians to take American jobs. This is all for the destruction of America. And that's exactly what Lucifer says, the coming power shift. Shambhala, according to Lucifer's book, sits over Mongolia, the 4th root race. Now, we're the 5th root race. Mongolia is the 4th root race. Most of the Africans are the 3rd root race. I've been reading up on Lucifer's literature. Doesn't mean they're any smarter or dumber. It just means they're a different race of people. I think, quite frankly, Lucifer's full of crap. But, you know, this is coming about. Lucifer claims that over the Gobi Desert lies Shambhala in the astral plane. And this book is filled with innuendos on how to create the power shift. First, you put demons in charge of everything. That's happened in America. The Lucifer Trust has stated, along with the head of the UN, every department head, this is before Trump took office, and every corporate head in all Fortune 500 companies are not humans, they're demons. So you steal the money from America and you transfer it to China. Now, what is China like? Big Brother is watching you. Big Brother is watching you. Why fear anything if you've done nothing wrong? And that was the Gestapo and the SS and the NSA is, if you've done nothing wrong, why fear anything? Why fear anything if you've done nothing wrong? Big Brother, war is peace. Peace is war. You are not an individual. You are part of group thinking. They talk about how the Orientals have group thinking. The Orientals are their primary target. They want the United States to look like China. You're not allowed to own gold. You have to buy gold through the state, and they hold the gold for you. So nobody knows how much gold China has. There are no investments. A few of you can invest in the stock market. If they want to eliminate you, they just turn on 5G and a whole neighborhood in Hunan dies. Millions of people. You will be a slave, and they will have their workers. Do not fear. China thinks in a group mind. Unfortunately, the whites think individually. So we create things and build things. But the Chinese build as a group. They have a group mind. They think alike. This is coming from the Lucifer Trust. This is not coming from me. This is the Lucifer Trust. So we will all think alike. We will all do what our master says. The UN is pouring billions, trillions. We're not in the millions. We're not in the billions. We're in the trillions of dollars into the Chinese economy from the American economy. The UN is raiding the American economy to pay for the uptick in the Chinese economy. They've been doing this for 40 years now. The computer makes it easy. They want a totalitarian economy where the leaders of the Communist Chinese Party determine what they're going to do. There is no freedom. You will take the job that you are suited for. If you don't like flipping burgers, we'll just send you to a re-education camp. There are thousands of re-education camps. And the Democrats have proposed re-education camps in America. That's why we have 806 FEMA camps. Now, for the rest of your life, you will do exactly what you're told to do. There is no constitution. There are no rights. You will be paid what you will be paid. You will act like everybody else. And you will have a complete, total freedom through work. Your work is your freedom. Your freedom is your work. That was the sign over Auschwitz concentration camp where they killed over 2 million people in WW2. Work is freedom. They talk a lot about, in this book, about expressing yourself, about how dictators are good for the world, and how all of the people who propose this work for a government agency, normally a university, and they propose all this crap. All this good stuff. So the division between the East and the West is individualism, where you determine what you want to do versus the state determining what you want to do. And your only freedom is through initiation through the Lucifer Trust, which is an out-of-body experience. You must follow Lucifer. You must do out-of-body experiences. You must go where they tell you to go. You must follow the divas, the demons. Ever wonder why Davos is named Davos? Demons? Yeah, the demon-possessed people go to Davos. You will do out-of-body experiences. You will listen to the demons. You will do what you're told. You will work where they want you to work. You will write what they want you to write. And you will be happy because you will do out-of-body experiences as your body withers away and you're dead by 55. You'll be re-educated to 15, and from 15 to 55, you will work for the state, and then your body will slowly degrade and die. That's the perfect economy. 2 out of 3 people in America never make it to retirement age. So we're going to talk a lot about this harmonizing relationships between the East and the West by doing out-of-body experiences and following Lucifer. We're going to harmonize as the United States is ripped off and they give the money to China and Europe. Welcome to America. And you just saw how Trump is cooperating with this. Now, if he changes his mind, that's fine. But right now, he's cooperating with the destruction of America. We'll see what he does. God bless. Thank you very much. And we'll see you tomorrow.